Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing today? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is Three Buck Theater. And when we think about the current state of the DCEU, it's not in a good place. And I don't think that's wrong of me to say. I do. I think that's legitimate for me to say that the state of the DCEU is in not the best place. And a lot of it, at least my contention, has to do with the treatment of Henry Cavill as Superman. I feel he was a great Superman. I think he was a great Clark Kent. I think he was on a good arc with Zack Snyder's films. And I do think that part of the backlash against Batman v Superman and ultimately Justice League has had a direct impact on whether or not we will see him reprise his role as this last son of Krypton. I don't think it's going to happen, but one of the things that I think is very interesting is Cavill's own approach to that particular mindset, the particular backlash, at least in regards to what could be considered toxic fandom. Now, I don't quite know what he's necessarily referring to here in this interview, but over on comicbook.com, they have an article titled Henry Cavill Addresses Toxic Fandom. And let's see what they have to say. So it says Henry Cavill is certainly no stranger to taking on beloved properties and characters ranging from the Man from Uncle to playing Superman in the DC Extended Universe. Later this month, he'll be playing in Netflix's The Witcher, which is an adaptation of an iconic book and video game series of the same name. As with the actor's other times entering fan favorite franchises, The Witcher has courted a wide array of reactions from fans almost as soon as Cavill was cast as Geralt. Now, in an interview with Jake Hamilton, Cavill addresses the topic of a potentially toxic fandom and argued that the situation is actually much more nuanced than that. So this is obviously starting off talking about The Witcher, talking about Geralt of Rivia, talking about the fact that the Witcher series is going to deviate slightly from the books. They're not going to be able to fit all of book one in season one. And I think they're just kind of like potentially bracing for impact, if I'm being honest. But that being said, you can apply this nuanced mindset to almost anything in regards to a fandom. He says here, I understand what you're saying, but when it comes to fans, it's a fan's right to have whatever opinion they want to have. And people are going to be upset, especially when you're talking about books or games, because you're never going to be the exact person who they were or who they had in their head or who played The Witcher 3, for example. I don't necessarily consider that toxic. I just consider that passionate. And that's something that I have obviously had to come with the terms with over the years. And he's not really wrong on that front at all. Him playing Superman was met with a big backlash in some ways, though I think a lot of it had to do with people just not liking what Zack Snyder was doing. And of course, all the upset over at DC Films with just the constant upheaval of executives and creatives and even the upper brass of Warner Brothers coming in and putting the kibosh on a lot of stuff and just really screwing things up. He kind of, I don't want to say he necessarily took the brunt of all of that, but a lot of people weren't happy with Superman in those movies, those three films. And I get why. I mean, I like what they did with the character, but I get why. Now, I have to admire what Cavill said here, right? I have to admire what he said because he's saying that these are people that are just, they're passionate. They're not toxic. They're very passionate and they all want to speak at one time. And I'm wondering if the way that we approach the toxic fandom, the toxic environment has more to do with the noise that comes from it versus the individual arguments. And it is very easy to lose track and to lose sight of that. I am absolutely guilty of that. And I think a lot of people are. It's very it's oftentimes when I refer to something as a group, I'm more or less referring to like one or two or three specific people, but it's just easier to lump everyone together. And that's a fundamental personal problem and flaw that many of us do share. But again, when it comes to the subject of fans and arguing over stuff and what a celebrity's take on it is, his take is absolutely different than Daisy Ridley. Daisy Ridley was basically like, F you, F this, F them, I'm done. And I get why she would want to say that too. She's got, again, right to her own opinion about dealing with passionate individuals. Although I think Cavill's being sincere when he says passionate, if I'm being honest here. Cavill comes across as an extremely sincere person. So I think he's being sincere. Not to say that I don't think Daisy Ridley's sincere. I think she's sincere as well. But she's just looking at it from a different perspective. You know, she's pretty much only really had the Star Wars franchise to deal with. Whereas You've got Cavill here having gone from Superman to Mission Impossible to Man from Uncle, and then now to the Witcher series. And I will say he's quite good in everything that he does. I thought he was really good back on the Tudors, before he broke big. But the thing to remember about Cavill, at least in regards to Witcher, dude's a huge Witcher fan. He's a huge gamer. So I think he wouldn't take on. I mean, he basically kind of gave up Superman. He gave up the fight for Superman in order to play Geralt of Rivia. So this is his dream job. So he's clearly like, bring on whatever you want, guys. Say whatever you want. Get as passionate as you want, because I get to play Geralt of Rivia. You know what I mean? He's like, I'm gonna go balls deep in Yennefer of Valkenburg. So and a unicorn. If you played the game, you know what I'm talking about. But no, getting back on point here, I do think that he's being sincere, and we should potentially look at people's comments online and maybe judge it from more of a passionate take versus one that is just wholly toxic. Right now, don't get me wrong, there are people out there who are toxic, and the people out there who are toxic are the ones who go after personal appearances, and they go after personalities, and they go after the person themselves, and they start to dehumanize and attack and debase. And we all know that those kind of people exist. The people that throw out bigoted, discriminatory, racist, sexist comments, whether it doesn't matter who they're aimed at. Those are the kind of people that we know and we can view as being toxic. But I think the average person is going to look at that and go, yeah, no, I'm not toxic. I'm very passionate. And I think maybe giving people the benefit of the doubt and looking at it from that particular perspective might maybe do a little bit to change the discourse online. I'm definitely in awe that he made that comment. I'm very happy that he made that comment. It just further solidifies that he's my Superman, and I would love to see him come back to the role. And I can't wait to watch The Witcher here in just like 2 weeks. So it's pretty exciting to see that. And yeah, I mean, I do want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. I want to hear your opinions. How do you feel? Do you think he's right? Think he's wrong? Let me know. Let me know what you think. I want to hear it down in the comment section. If you haven't already, please thumbs up the video. So you gotta smash on that like button. You gotta interact with the video. Otherwise, YouTube doesn't know what the hell to do with it. If you do want to support the channel, there's going to be a Patreon ad running at the end here. That would really help kind of get Hollywood After Dark going on being a nightly show that's going to run a little bit earlier than 11 p.m. So if you want to jump in on that action there, you can do that. Anyway, my name is Matt Jarbo. This has been 3 Buck Theater. Thank you guys so much. Have yourself a great day, and peace out. This video is supported by patrons like you. If you'd like to become a patron, please head over to patreon.com/Matt Jarbo.